Okay, this is video 6 in the Dow Gold Theory video series. Um, and I'm just asking where are stocks headed? Stock market being Dow Jones Industrial Average. And let me click on this. Being Dow Jones Industrial Average or the S&P 500. Really, they all move kind of in tandem, which is probably not a good thing, but that's not the subject of this video. So, in answering where stocks headed, in my first 5 videos, I talked about where gold was headed. Well, this is the theory. One of the theories is, although not this chart. I haven't seen this theory before. It might be mine. I don't know. But the theory has always been that periodically the Dow in gold, priced in gold, returns to one, and so that represents that bottom line. The Dow gold line equals one, and you can see it does have a little slope to it, so it doesn't return exactly to one. So I think I've got the calculations in here. So I mean, these two right here are slightly more than one, and this is actually less than one here. Um, but anyway, so if I think the gold is headed to 6295, and what I really think is that the Dow gold ratio is going to one, and this is my best stab at what gold's going to, and then therefore that's what the Dow is going to. If I think it's going to one, and actually it's going lower, so one is a conservative number now. These two didn't go to one, but if I project out, well, I've done that later in the video. So here is the stock market, what it did and where it was in December, which it has still trickled up, but if you look at this says the ratio. There was a clear turning point for the ratio, and it's never gone back up. I mean, it's done a zigzag line down, and sometimes gold drops with the Dow, but in general, the Dow is going down and gold is going up, and they're going to meet. And when they meet at the same price, whatever that price is, the Dow gold ratio will be one. And so here's what it did recently. And I think a big chunk of that move was within the month of March or the end of February, within a few weeks actually. And it has gone up since then. So that's the big move. And now what I want to do, this is going back to the past. I'm looking at the bottom of the market from the 1999 crash and the 2008 crash. And that's those 2 points right there. The two bottom points have dates associated with them, February. And then, so what I do is I take those 2 points and I project out, and I did forget, if I can do this quick enough, I won't make another video to make the pointer bigger. That was a recommendation, and I do like that recommendation. That was a comment from somebody. Where is it? It's accessibility. So this is also a tutorial on how to make your pointer bigger. All right, so there's that, and that does make for better on videos anyway. Play from current slide. So without getting into all the math, it's algebra 1, 2 points. You project through them and get the intercept, which I've arbitrarily chosen as 1950, and plug that date into that equation, and you can read all that, and that's the actual number of days from January 1st, 1950 to there, and you plug it in and you get that intercept right there, and you get an equation in from algebra 1, y equals mx plus b, and that ends up giving us $5,833 for the where the Dow's gone to. So in other words, what I'm saying here, just to be clear, I'm predicting or speculating that the Dow will drop down, as amazing as it sounds, to that number right there. Now, I think that's where it would go without all this money printing, because more recently I've seen a lot of money printing, so that number, the real theory is that the Dow Gold is going to one, but it might not make it. If I just look at the Dow, and then this is what I get right here, 5833. Uh, you know, and if money printing wasn't accelerated, so that's where, to me, that has a lot of downside potential, even from where it's at right now. So that's just a number that I come up with, and you can pause the screen on that one too. There's some calculations on an Excel spreadsheet where I got the y equal mx plus b, but you can do that on your own. And doing the same thing from the much more reliable uh, Dow Gold ratio from macro trends is where this graph's located. I got the log off on this particular one, and I took the low point there and the low point there, which was 1.94 in February of 33 and 1.29 in January of 1980, and I had to use a date. So I used the end of March 2024, just like I'd used right there, and just to generate a number, and it comes up with 0.62. So this is the Dow Gold line equals 1 that it supposedly returns to. I just nerded out and came up with exact numbers, but 1 going to 1 or even lower. So 1 is a conservative number now for this where it's going. And there's that again if I need it, because sometimes I go back and forth. So just using that one, 6295, and using this number, and then plugging in 0.62 instead of 0.1, I come up with a couple of different prices for gold. So I thought I'd just throw that in there. And here is another argument for the Dow going a little higher. In other words, gold ending up a little higher. Because remember, the Dow is dropping and gold is rising, and they're going to meet somewhere, is the theory. And when they meet, if you divide one by the other, you're going to get the number 1 if you divide the Dow by gold. And so here's another number. And this came from goldmoney.com, and I'll briefly describe it. You might want to look on their website. I do have some, I don't want to talk about my stuff, but I think you can go to their website and anybody can get these articles if they want to. I don't think you have to have some gold stored there in order to get the articles, but I could be wrong. Fiat money quantity is what that FMQ stands for. I had looked that up. And instead of what that means, instead of this being 850, which is what gold was in about 850 in 1980 or thereabouts, they made an adjustment for how much money had been printed up until that point, and the price they came for the money printed adjusted gold price was $35, and right now they're saying that same price is $5, and if it goes back up to here, that will be 5 times 7 is 35. So all I did was just multiply by I multiplied that's a sevenfold increase. So 7 times 1648, which is whenever I took this picture, that was the price of gold, and that comes up to that number. And it's another one I need to look into. This, I believe, comes from Mike Maloney, and he has it. He has the price of gold going from 14,000 to 18,000. And I thought that was ridiculously high, but I'm more open to those numbers now when I see what I will share with you. I think I want to do a video at least where I recreate how he got this, because the more I can do this, the more I feel comfortable with the bigger numbers. Um, and here is the debt clock. So in November of 2019, which is about 4.5 months ago, the price, the dollar to gold ratio was that, and that's, I think I've got a bigger screenshot. That's 8681. I can read that though. 8681, and now 4 months later, 4.5 months later, it's at 16494, and that was really at the end of March, and it's April 13th today. So I think go look at it, because that is, the 16,000 is smack dab in the middle of Mike Malone's calculations right there. So if we go, and that is a fast change. I'll show you the debt clock. You have to take a snapshot of it because it's clicking by so fast. And, let me just go to it. And I'm trying to make these videos a little quicker. Here, I believe it's that one. Yeah, there's the debt clock. And I got to make sure I've got the right year. Well, I'll know it's the right year if I just click on this and get 2020. So that's the current one. And well, good heavens. So it's already, I'll take a screenshot of that and see if I can drag it into the presentation. Or just, I think if I do that and double click on it, it'll bring it up. Yeah, there we go. So it's already approaching 20,000. So it's gone beyond what Mike Malone was saying. And I don't know that that's the exact same calc Mike Malone's doing here. But what this is, I think I've got that in the presentation. So I can go back to the presentation and see that. But just to do a calc on that, the stock market, if we do Dow Gold equals 1, then the stock market is at least going to drop to that number. Now that number is obviously rising very fast, so I just now thought of this. Maybe they're trying to make that number go up really fast so that the stock market and meet the stock market. Well, that's an argument for gold going to this higher number though. So to me, that's actually worse, unless you can suppress the price of gold in some way, because that would be, of course you don't want the stock market to drop, so maybe you print enough money until they meet at a higher number rather than 6,000, which is what I have. So 20,000. Ironically, let's just do a calculation, and that number is going up fast. But if I go 19,504, enter, and 0.62, which is what I think the Dow gold ratio is going to, I come up with $12,000. Of course, that thing's going up, but that's kind of right in the ballpark of this calc right here. I mean, really, at this point, the point is that it's way low right now, so it's rather safe. And I can't, yeah, I can move that out of the way. So that's kind of near that number. Okay, so let's continue on. So there's, the one from a few. I'll go back to the presentation, which is more static. I went too far. Well, I gotta accelerate through this and get to where I was. Yeah, so 14,000, 18,000, 12,000, and my little calculator, do I still have that up? So we've got a bunch of different prices for where the stock market could be going to. I mean, this is a price in gold, but it could be going to that. The point is the stock market is going way down and gold is going up. So, pick your number. I guess is the point. I'll play from current slide. Come on. There we go. And we'll continue on. So that's hard to read, but that's just what it was a few months ago, 8681. Now, I know they're not pulling gold out of the ground right now, but if the gold price keeps going up, then I don't think that hurts the mining companies. The mining companies have rebounded, from that big drop we had. There's the definition right there. I think that's a good one. I think that's what Mike Malone's calculating in his graph, maybe in a different way. M2 money supply divided by the yearly world production ounces in gold, which that kind of makes sense. So there's just my chart again. And, one thing I did notice that could be a subject of a future video is these time periods. This, from 33 to this is 1980. That one goes with that one right there. So from 33 to 1980 is 47 years, and then this is 44 years. So these ones on the bottom are big time periods, and that's 33 years right there on the top, and then this is 37 years. So there might be something to look into that on video. And here's some future video ideas. I want to look at 2008 versus 2020 and see what's the same and what's different. Obviously, 2008 occurred in this down leg, and 2020, I'm talking about the kind of flash crashes where it really drops fast, and so that much is the same. But I want to look at what's different. Now, this is just a reminder, I guess, for me to talk about. The Dow is going down and gold is going up, and they're going to meet at 1. So that's what the theory on that is. But there are short periods of time where the Dow, and we knew this in the 2008 crisis and in the 2020 crisis, where the Dow drops so fast it brings everything with it. But the Dow gold ratio is still dropping. So it's just that, gold is not going up, but the Dow went down so big that the ratio still went down. And when that happens, I think what is happening, although I'm no economist, is that the dollar is going up in value temporarily. So gold priced in a dollar that is temporarily more valuable, what you'd want to do is just buy more of it. Like obviously in this scenario right here, this is 2008 crisis, gold to me, when I look at that graph, gold didn't. The 2008 crisis, gold shrugged it right off. It just kept going up. But there was that little time period where I look at it anyway as an opportunity to, while it's going, if you know it's going this far and you see it dropping, then you got to buy the dip, as they say. And there's a little zoomed in look at the price. It occurred over a rather short time period. Now, what is different about that? And you can see that this is represent. If you don't know what the Huey is, it's an index that has about 20 or 30 miners in it, gold miners, and this is a bigger percentage move than that. So gold moves a little, miners move a lot, and so. But what I think is different about this time period, and I'm practically doing my next video, but I think there's, maybe I just word that as a question. What do you think is different about this versus 2020? And I can just, I'll go ahead and answer it. Obviously, that was the highest point the miners had ever been at that point. At that time, looking back this way, they'd never been that high. And here, it's fairly near the lowest point. So that's something to discuss. And that will be the end of it. The next video, I'll do something on those topics. And good luck with your trading. And thanks for watching.